Hello and a very warm welcome to Across Africa. I'm Sanam Chantier. Coming up on this week's programme, we bring you Operation Barkhane, a French-led deployment in the Sahel region of Africa aimed at pushing jihadists out of northern Mali. A fight against hate speech in Guinea. Bloggers in the country are doing their part to eradicate violent language online. Also coming up, a tete-a-tete with the Congolese-Belgian artist Baloji. He talks to France 24 about his Afropean identity that brings together a blend of rap, funk, electro and African rhythms. But first to France's military operation in Mali. It's called Barkhane, which continues in a bid to stamp out an Islamist insurgency in the country's north. French and Malian troops are working side by side to gather intelligence and rebuild trust with the local population. France 24's reporters Claire Paquelin and Fanny Allard sent this report from Menaka.
In the streets of Menaka, French legionnaires patrol alongside Malian soldiers. This town in eastern Mali has seen more than 6 years of unrest. Locals tell us they feel reassured by France's counterinsurgency operation, known as Barkhane.
Ce qu'on est en train de souffrir là, ça commence à diminuer. Leur arrivée ici. Les Barkhane et les Fama.
When we ask who's behind their suffering, everyone is careful not to name names.
Des bandits. Les bandits armés.
Mais c'est les groupes armés là. Les mêmes groupes armés qui sont là, ce sont ceux qui empêchent les gens de sortir.
Menaka is in a region favoured by armed Islamist extremist groups. Since last November, French and Malian soldiers have been carrying out regular joint operations here.
Le but, c'est bien qu'ils soient en mesure de patrouiller de manière autonome, sans Barkhane à leur côté. En faisant des patrouilles comme ça, qui ont l'air de rien, finalement, on obtient des petits renseignements. Et bout à bout, ça permet d'avoir une base de données intéressante pour nous.
As well as patrolling towns like Menaka with the Malian soldiers, the French army is also teaching them how to detect landmines and IEDs, improvised explosive devices. They are the biggest threat posed by armed extremist groups in this region. Last month, 2 French soldiers were killed when the vehicle they were travelling in drove over an IED. A week after that attack, 6 Malian soldiers were killed by a roadside IED. This training is crucial, but the Malian army lacks tools like metal detectors.
Est-ce que vous avez des outils qui ressemblent à ça, similaires? Non? Vous avez rien du tout? Même pas des HP pour chercher l'or ou des trucs comme ça, non? Vous avez rien? OK.
The workshop is just a start. It takes hours of practice to be proficient in IED detection.
Est-ce qu'ils sont préparés? Moi, je pense que pas assez. Donc, je pense qu'aujourd'hui, c'est bien qu'on fasse ça pour eux. Mais un jour, je l'espère, pouvoir travailler avec eux et leur faire confiance.
The Malian soldiers told us they weren't authorized to answer our questions. Since 2012, their army has suffered numerous defeats, including here in Menaka. Today, the Malian troops face a double challenge. They're trying to retrain and build strength, at the same time as waging war against Islamist extremists.
In Guinea, civil society groups have warned that they've seen a sharp uptick in online hate speech and xenophobic incitement to violence. Some campaigners are now doing what they can to stop inflammatory exchanges becoming the norm.
Baloji, an association of Guinean bloggers, is trying to counter online hate speech. With the hashtag #IsolateHatred, Baloji members are calling out the growing problem of online hate speech and incitement to violence towards certain communities.
It's called a social network, not a hate network. We should call these people arsonists because they incite violence and are stigmatizing one community after the other.
Baloji and other civil society associations accuse political parties of exploiting the country's ethnic differences.
It's the media militia, it's the audience and web communicators who today find themselves on social networks spreading hate speech and inciting violence.
In Conakry, many Guineans say they're also worried about the inflammatory comments they come across on social media.
I have a Facebook account. Sometimes it's hard to go online because as soon as I see it, it really disgusts me.
Whether you're Fulani, Malinke, Susu, we are all Ghanaians and we condemn this.
These people are spreading bad ideas, and they can especially influence young people.
The 2016 Cybersecurity Act has never been implemented, although the minister in charge of telecommunications says this could soon change.
We have tools that allow us to identify the culprits, hunt them down, stop them and bring them to court. Despite the fact there has been no precedent, today the state has taken all the necessary measures to protect internet users.
With almost 1 million users, Facebook is by far the most popular social network in Guinea, according to statistics from 2016.
Now to Kenya's second largest city, MOMBASA, which is due for a facelift. Parts of the coastal city are run down and have been deteriorating day by day. The project is aimed at saving the historic old town while boosting the local tourism industry.
On the edge of the Indian Ocean, the old town of Mombasa has its roots 12 centuries ago. Tourists flock to this part of town to visit the oldest mosques in the country and to take in the vestiges of colonization. Guides here stress the importance of preservation.
Il y a un programme ici pour informer les habitants d'ici de garder la vieille ville. Save Old Town, save Old Town. The Old Town is important because it's a tourist attraction. So these are the houses. If they are destroyed, then we will not have again. We will not have that history.
This British-built police station stands in ruins. The other buildings, better preserved thanks to restoration efforts in the early 2000s, still show early signs of decay. The team in charge of the renovation is here today to assess the needs.
If you look at this building here, this was the first post office in Mombasa. So it is a historic building and you cannot just let it go down. So the idea would be, to restore some of these niches.
For the county government, this also comes down to economics.
We have a vision 2035 that cultural sites are very important to ensure that we provide employment and we provide products for the tourists.
26 buildings are in need of urgent renovations. And the residents will actually do the work themselves.
That one is very important for us. That's why we are trying to do this job. It's not only to make the money, but to preserve our culture. That is the most important about it.
1.4 million tourists visited Kenya in 2017, mainly for game watching. By renovating its own cultural treasures, Mombasa hopes to attract more visitors to the coast.
In Niger, the federal government has announced that it will no longer provide funds to any officials to travel abroad for medical treatment. That's unless the case cannot be handled in the country. Lawmakers now have access to a modern hospital recently built in Niamey.
This modern hospital in Niamey was built last year by China. Doctors from China, Turkey, Cuba and Niger work here. The government announced that ministers and lawmakers can no longer seek medical treatment abroad. They will now have to come here. The hospital's manager said anyone in Niger was welcome.
This hospital is for everyone. We're proud that people from all walks of life come here. Everything goes well.
But representatives of the civil society said the new hospital is twice as expensive as anywhere else in the country.
When the state of Niger says it has opened a modern hospital in the capital, that means it has solved the problems of 1% of the population. Meanwhile, the other 99% have no medical protection. They have nothing.
In the streets of Niamey, there were mixed reactions after the government's announcement.
When you look at the situation this country is in, I think it's a good and important decision.
We hope that it'll be affordable, not only for members of the government, but for everyone.
The shortage of good hospitals in sub-Saharan Africa means the elite often go abroad when they are ill. In Kenya, for example, the media has just revealed that 11 lawmakers are currently being treated for cancer in India.
Now, one Belgian Congolese hip-hop poet is cooking up a melting pot of sounds that reflect his Afropean culture. And that's a person who relates both to Africa and Europe. Baloji's latest album, 137 Avenue Kanyama, which is where he was born in Lubumbashi, has been garnering rave reviews. The singer-songwriter sat down with France 24's music critic, Rochelle Harrison-Pless.
Est-ce que l'on peut joindre le futile à l'agréable avant qu'il ne se réduise à une peau de chagrin?
His name means sorcerer in Swahili. So it's fitting that Belgian Congolese musician and poet Baloji has cast a spell over music lovers. His new album, 137 Avenue Kanyama, an explosive cocktail of sound.
It's a journey with 3 different chapters. And I would love that they listen to it from the beginning till the end, because he has like different small stories. I'm proud of that because it's to create a record that is an experience.
A sonic landscape that traces Baloji's roots. Where the Congolese rhythms of his birthplace meet the electronica of the country he grew up in. Infused with a hearty dose of funk and hip-hop. The 39-year-old, who launched his career as part of the Belgian hip-hop crew Starflam, wasn't always keen on the music of the DRC.
I just didn't want to listen to the same record as my parents. It was just like it sounded boring to me. But then working on a sample of Manu Dibango just helped me to reconnect with Congolese music as a sample, one of his tracks on my first album, on the song called Tout ceci ne vous rendra pas le Congo.
Today, taking inspiration from both his Belgian and Congolese heritage, Baloji says he identifies as Afropean.
One complement each other and vice versa, and I think that's the thing that I'm the most proud of, is that I can embrace each part of my identity.
Baloji's melodies and rhythms are crossing continents faster than ever before. Thanks to social media and the soaring growth of 4G in Africa, he's able to take listeners on a journey, whether they're in Brussels, Boston, Lagos or Lubumbashi.
Well, on that musical note, that's it for this edition of Across Africa. Do stay tuned to France 24.